All right. Hello again, yet again, team. It is John back out with you. Today we're going to go through just the basics of the soundboard. Now, honestly, I barely know the basics, but this should be enough to help somebody to, if they want to look back on, okay, oh wait, I totally forgot how to run the soundboard. This can help jog their memory, and for any new staff or Justin Rama, that this can help them better understand what the soundboard is like. So we're going to go ahead and hop right in. So as we turn to the soundboard, we have our track iPad set up, good to go. We need to see whether or not we're in the right scene. So we're gonna go to our handy little display here, and we are in the right scene already. awhile audio, it's already been set up when somebody came in here. So you can press scenes. If it's not, double check that it is, you can go home. I tend to leave it on this processing page because you can see whether or not there's signal as people are getting set up, and I know nothing about all the EQ stuff, so that doesn't help me really at all. Just as a rehash, whether or not something's muted, it is blinking red. If it's a group that is muted, it is blinking red. And the way we currently have the tech booth sound up is by these labels, with the mics and drum, this being mics, see how it's blinking, this being instruments, see how they're blinking as a group, and drums, see how the kick and the snare is blinking as a drum. So that's currently how it is set up. That these allow you to change, bring down all the mics, bring them up, bring down all the instruments maybe during like sharing, bring it up, and then of course the Mac. And so whoever's working the soundboard controls the sound, wouldn't you know it? So I'm gonna go ahead and just leave everything muted by the master for now, just as we can kind of explain at least John's methodology, his philosophy when it comes to this. Is that I like to mute everything that we're not using that Sunday. And so as we look at kind of the instruments we have today, we do have bass. So we'll have to have something with bass. Personally, I like to keep kick and snare down, but freedom to the students if they want to bring that up. It is currently mic'd. We don't need violin today, so I keep that down. I tend to just mute it. Keys will be used, acoustic will be used, electric will be used, Vox 1, Vox 2, Vox 3 will be used. Wireless, those are used after the service. Loop is used, click is left down. This is left down that it'll go through the in-ears, but will come through the house. Those are left up. And then the effects, delay, verb, these get played with sometimes. Don't play with them too much. Thinking of you, Julian. But they will kind of affect how the students sound, and then the sub. So kind of my general principle is just leave them up just a little bit. But yeah, so those will all be used today. As you're plugging in things on the stage, that is when I say is just best, regardless of what's going on, just keep kind of all those instruments individually muted, just so you kind of can unplug and plug in. When you're ready to sound check someone, then you can unmute them, make sure the signal's coming through. When the signal's coming through, it should make a green light right there. I will go ahead and grab a wireless mic just to demonstrate. So I now have a wireless mic in my hand. So if I take this and I start talking, we can notice that it is the wireless blue. So there is a green light there, but there's also, if you have it on that basic processing mix, you can see where the signal is too. And so this is helpful in case, like say, we plug in the acoustic and say the signal, you're not getting signal here, but you might see just a little bit of signal on there. Then that means that you might need to turn up the gain. So if you need to turn up the gain, you press this button to select it. So it selects that instrument. So that actually, my bad, that would be what you want to do. So you would select, say we're sound checking the acoustic. You want to select acoustic, and then you can see if there's any signal. Because sometimes this signal is too not sensitive enough. So you might see signal there that you don't see here. In that case, you would then want to bring up the gain with this little knob, and you should see gain there. It would come up or bring it down. So I'm gonna leave it back at 0. But that helps you if you are getting signal, but it's not coming through here, you might want to turn up the gain. But you want to be careful because you don't want to make them too loud. So general principle, I kind of keep everything muted as they're doing sound check. And then as the instruments are feeling ready, they're good to go, can leave them unmuted. And then they're, rehearsing. Rehearsal goes great. The actual, once the rehearsal's over, that's when, can kind of mute all of these by groups. Then they're all muted. Then what I tend to do is about 30 seconds before they start, can unmute them. That way they're kind of hearing themselves, it's coming through, and then you should be all good. Things to note though, as we look at the soundboard. Now this is getting a little bit more complex, is this system right here. Because right now, everything we've done so far has had this blue light right here, which is the master. This is the master section. It's had this lit the whole time. What we're gonna do now is when we're setting up before rehearsal, we need to make sure that the in-ear stations are all set up correctly. So click, notice, boom, the whole board changed. When I press click, the whole board changes. What is happening now is we are affecting what is going to go into their in-ears for the click channel. So if I press this, now we're on what's coming out. Now we're on what's going into their ears. Notice that the click has gone up. Watch that click again. See, it's down. When I press click, it's going to go up. So right now, everything that's in the loop and the click is going to come through their in-ears. One problem I just noticed, the Mac is also up. So that means right now in its current setting, if someone pressed Spotify play, even if this is muted, it might come, it might come through their in-ears. So we wanna make sure this is down for their in-ears for click. So that's click. And then we're gonna go down the line. Now drum tends to be Vox 3. Notice Vox 3 is there. Acoustic and electric. We do have acoustic, we do have electric today. So we'll turn those up. Then Vox 1 is Vox 1. Notice last week the person who was singing was also playing electric, but that's not the case this week, so we can bring electric back down. Then we're gonna go Vox 2. Vox 2 is right there. Keys is there. The only thing is we're missing a place for the bass, which actually I'm wrong. I take that back. Vox 1 is also playing acoustic today, so we're gonna bring Vox 1 and acoustic up. And then acoustic AG, EG is actually going to be EG and bass today. So that all affects what's going to come through the in-ears. So I'll run that back through again. So we have click as loop and click. See that right here. Vox drum is Vox 3, whoever the Vox singer is. Acoustic electric is actually electric and bass. Vox 1 is Vox 1 and acoustic. Vox 2 is Vox 2. And keys is keys. So this affects what is going to be in their in-ears, these buttons right here. There's also sub and FX, but I don't know how to do any of that. So we're not going to talk about that today. Just bring it back. And so you will test that out, make sure that they have all their in-ears good to go. And so you'll press this, it's sounding good. They double check that it's all coming through their in-ears. Notice that there is loop and click going. You can bring the click up to make sure that it's just all working. What I tend to do is we tell them to start the track, whoever's working sound, to press play. 4 seconds left on the countdown, just because it brings in that little intro and gets them feeding in and going. And then once we are doing the sharing, so it'll have automatically crossfaded, it'll automatically crossfade. Somebody's sharing, it's going, and it's going to keep repeating this one. And then what we're going to do as they finish sharing is that we'll click this to go to the next song. So that will then go to the next song. Everything else you need to know is basically just to adjust levels. If Vox 1 is leading, maybe keep them up, keep the others down a little bit. If 2 people are sharing it, can bring them there. Vox 3 can kind of always be there to support. If someone is sharing, maybe leave them up all by themselves. Bring the instruments down. The sound booth, you have creativity as the person who's in charge of sound. You have a lot of liberty, but also don't get too distracted. Don't just play around, really be in tune with what's going on. And what you're producing is not for you, it's not for The singers and the instrumentalist, it is for those who are singing. So make it able to hear, they're able to understand, and lead them through. And so that is the sound booth. Thanks, everybody.